Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? It's your girl Neek, and you're tuned in to Neek at Night. And the internet has been having a lot of opinions about Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons, or Shanna Simmons no more. Kimora Lee's daughter dating a 65-year-old man. Now, a lot of people have been talking about it and whether, you know, she was following in Kimora's footsteps. A lot of people were blaming Kimora for her following in her footsteps, and some people were defending her. Now, as you guys know, or some of you may not know, Kimora Lee has a certain type of tie to Diddy, right? She has been shading Diddy for his acts and everything like that. She was really good friends with Diddy's ex BM Kim Porter, and she would have a lot of opinions about certain things about how they were shady. She even went as far as to calling Russell Simmons out for dating her when she was so young and basically coming forward as a victim. So when all of this Diddy stuff happened, a lot of people were telling her that she needs to go get Diddy's twins. She needs to be an influence to the twins. And a lot of people were thinking that that was a safe space for them. Now, since the news has broke that her 21-year-old daughter is dating a 65-year-old man, the comments and the roles have reversed on opinions. And people are saying that Diddy's children ain't no more safe with her than anybody else. And it's just been a whole mess. Now, I got a special guest today that's going to help me tackle this topic. Some of you guys may remember him, some of y'all may not. But we got Mr. David coming through the screen, going to help us kind of, tackle this. I'm like, let's come back again with another one. But this time, let me have a co host and talk about the story. So, the guy who she is dating is a restaurant, a group owner, and he is very, 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 actually, let me pull up the photo because it's giving ugh, it's giving ick. I don't want to show all the pictures because some of the pictures, they locking lips, they kissing, they frolicking, they in the ocean, all of that. So I'm gonna show some of the pictures, not all of them, because y'all know how YouTube likes to tussle and play games with the monetization. So this is them, willy nilly on vacation, having a good time. She's This is them in the water together. Page 6, get that banner out of here. Okay, so this is them, and I don't want to go any further than that, but he is a restaurant owner, and let me go and basically give y'all the breakdown. It says on Friday, Aoki posted some snaps from her trip to the Caribbean island on Instagram, but she notably did not include her boo in any of them. It says on March 27th, she shared a video of herself on a beach wearing the same bikini as she did in the photos obtained of her and Asaf together, and they had paparazzi that was able to capture them together. Now, he is a businessman. It says the Milan-born businessman also posted pictures from his trip featuring one of his friends whom he said he has known for 25 years. Asaf made headlines in 2021 when his now ex-wife, former model Charlotte Bonstrom, left him after having an affair with her twin sister's ex-husband. Okay, they just got a lot of drama going on. This is them frolicking in the beach. Let me share with y'all his details as far as his restaurant business goes. But in the meantime, do you have any opinions about the subject so far, or do you want me to keep on going? David.
Personally,
Yeah.
that's a huge age gap, man. Huge age gap. To be 20, you really haven't even experienced life yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be with a man that's 65 years, he's basically in 5 years, he'll be 70. You'll be 25, 26, around that age. It's only but so much you can do with somebody at that age, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you do got to question, like, is this love, or is it a bigger plan that, you know what I'm saying, at stake? We it's always gonna be subject to opinion, right? Because we on the outside looking in, so we're not in their relationship. Do I agree with it? No, but that's also something that fall on the parents too, man. Like I believe your upbringing has something to do with that as well, right? Like, and I'm not saying that. All right, so we living in an era and a generation where true love don't matter. It's all about getting your bills paid. Ain't about how you getting treated on the back end. It's all about money. So, do I think it's about money? I mean, what else could it be? You think she's like in love with him? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like, you think they like, oh my god, like they madly in love with each other?
No, I don't. Obviously not.
I mean, yeah. So, but I guess on the back end too, it got to fall on him too, right? So, like, what if he know that they not in love, and maybe he, let's just say for argument's sake, he want to heir to his wealth. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? It could be something along the lines of that. It might for him, it might be a business move. It might be a smart business move. She come from money. She understand money to some extent, I would hope. So if something was to happen to him, I'm pretty sure if they're if it's a business plan, she would be the next up to take over, I would assume. You know what I mean, because I don't know his family history. I don't know if he has children. I don't know him that well. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But hey, it's no there's no mystery that older men like younger women. You know what I mean? That's been in the history books since day one.
Yeah.
Older men love younger women. They're easier to mold. They're easier to teach, and it's almost like you ain't got to teach an old dog new tricks, if that makes sense. That's the old saying. You know what I mean? So I don't agree with it, but I also don't know the terms behind why it's actually happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna pause you for a second and pull up some clips. Now, as I stated, there are people who were dragging Kimora Lee because they felt like what type of influence was she to her child for her child to follow in her footsteps and get a man so old. There was also people who were basically comparing her dating this 65-year-old man to Drea Michelle being pregnant by 22 or 21-year-old Jalen. And people were saying that if people feel like Drea is predatory for going after him and getting pregnant by him, why are people not feeling the same way about this 65-year-old man who was 44 years old when she was barely born? Why are people not feeling the same? And there was people in the comments basically going back and forth saying why the situation with Aoki Lee is different and not the same as Drea. They were saying that Drea was a predator and this guy in this situation was not. I feel like it's both the same type of behavior. Neither one of them have a partner that they can relate to mentally. There's nothing that they can relate to as far as, having a conversation. Now, when she was talking and she was responding to the backlash, she sounded like a child. And I'm nowhere close to 65, and she sounded like a little kid to me. So it's like you at 65 who has experienced way more life. This is like all you getting is some Cuda box. I mean, like it's just the Cuda box for me. So I'm gonna pull up her basically talking after all of this stuff came to light. And then I'm going to pull up the things that people were saying about Kimora as it relates to this situation. So the neighborhood talk had posted a post and it has said that, there was sources that said that she was dating this guy. It says, oops, sources confirmed 21-year-old Aoki Lee Simmons is dating 65-year-old businessman after the two were caught on vacation together in St. Bart's and they were enjoying each other's company. Now, there was pictures, like I said, of them locking lips, kissing, tonguing down, all of those things. And this was her.
My friends. People calling me. I don't like being called. I was gonna say to my friends. People calling me. I don't like being called. I was gonna say to my friends.
Okay, so she got that Russell Simmons lisp. So you probably can't understand what she said, but she is saying she don't know why people are calling her because she was in St. Bart's with her friends. Like, no big deal. So then she posted a post on her IG, and she was basically saying after the pictures got leaked, like, oh, no wonder like my phone is getting blown up or whatever. And it's like, girl, you know why they calling you in the first place. Like, stop. So this post right here, hold on, let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Okay. So this post right here, she posted her and some chick, and it says, well, now I know why folks were calling me. Okay. And so that was after the photos got released of her locking lips with this old man. Now, in addition to her saying, oh, I know why people are calling me, she then started to respond to people calling her anorexic in her comments. So this is what she had to say. And it just I don't know if she was, it just was odd, and it's like a little kid talking. That's what it sounded like to me, but let's listen.
Stop saying I'm anorexic on the internet because I've been getting fired from modeling jobs because people think that I'm a bad influence, and I'm just really not. I eat a lot of food. So can you stop saying that because I've been getting in trouble? Thank you. Cool. Please stop. Please stop. Did you guys hear me? Did you guys hear me? Like, when you comment that, I get fired. Because then brands think that people think that I have an issue and they don't want that on their brand. And so I genuinely have gotten fired because of these comments, guys. Like, could you just please not? Like, I would really appreciate it. It's like not funny. That's why I was crying in Milan. And then the more it happened, the more stressed I got, the more weight I lost. It was a mess, and I couldn't get a job because of it. So it's not funny. Shamika, they did say that. I got big fired. I got big fired. So, guys, I don't look like I'm dying. This gives a very strong, I do 4 kinds of martial arts. I rock climb. I can shoot a bow and arrow. Like, come on now. It's true, like there are negative consequences for like a celebrity model, which is true. It's totally better and safer because people aren't gonna like do bad things to you. But because you have press and eyes on you, brands do tend to care about your public image. So if half my comments are full of like, she looks like a dying sick child, I do get fired. I can literally shoot a bow and arrow, dude. I really can. Like, I rock climbed 800 feet vertically. Leave me alone. I have more energy than half of y'all. Half of y'all judging, not y'all on this live. Okay. Thank you guys. Just please like comment like good stuff. Like, yay, she's really cute. I would buy something she modeled because brands pay attention to what you comment, and I do get like booked or fired based on that. Guys, can you please stop saying I'm
okay? So from that, when I was looking at that, I'm like, she talked like a little child. Like, I'm like, what kind of stimulating conversation can a 65-year-old man have with her? Like, what's your thoughts, David?
I ain't gonna hold you. She don't even sound like she good mentally. Like sometimes we think because people are well off and they have money that their childhood was the best. Looking at her now at this age, I don't I don't care what martial arts she did, what they did with her. I feel, and it's just me, right? Like I'm gonna go a little in depth in it. Listening to her, it ain't even just a childish fact. It seems like she's searching for something. It's like she's empty on the inside. She really cares about what other people think and feel, and I think we all guilty of that to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But truthfully, she does sound like a lost child, but she sounds like somewhere along her childhood something was missing. Something's missing. So I can see her entertaining a 65-year-old man because she just doesn't know any better. You know what I'm saying? Like she kind of just doing whatever. Like if you lost jobs because you think it's because of comments or someone's calling you anorexic, I don't think because you can look at a lot of models throughout the world and they all are they're pretty slim, you know, to say the least. So you're not the very first, and you're not gonna be the last, you know, skinny or slim woman to attempt to be a model. Uh, but listening to her talk is just, it ain't even just the intellect is not there. Even her, she kind of fidget. She can see how she keep moving. She don't know how to sit still. Like she doesn't know how to really truly articulate herself on a high scale. It's a deeper rooted problem than just what we see on the exterior. That would be my take.
Yeah, I think that was a good take because a lot of people do assume that you're wealthy, like you have the best life. There was even people who felt like, your mom's Kimora and your dad's Russell Simmons, like what are you doing dating him and this and this and that. And they assume that you don't have any problems if you are wealthy. Like, what are you crying about? What are you mad about? What are you upset about? You don't have a right to be upset. You have more money than me. You have more resources than me. Like, what do you have a reason to be mad about anything? And that's literally how people look at it for real, for real. And it's like, it's all types of ebbs and flows at every single economic threshold. And there's more money, more problems. And then there are situations where people assume that you have all these lavish things. Not too long ago, she was on the internet and she was basically crying because she was saying that her father wasn't paying for, was it her school? He wasn't paying for her school, or he wasn't paying for something. And she was very upset with her dad. She had exposed conversations that she had with her dad. And it shows that they don't really have a good relationship. And that's something that I feel like she could be missing also. I'm going to pull up the post that Russell Simmons said in response to this, because he basically, his way of commenting to what was going on is posting up a throwback photo of them two and basically trying to subliminally tell his daughter, or he outright wrote that he's waiting on his daughter to call him. So let me pull that up. So right here, this is what he posted. He has a song playing. I don't want to get copyright, but it says throwback from last year's Father's Day in NYC. I guess this was a yoga express class. It says vegan lunch, chirotherapy, vitamin drip all around. Amazing day. He added her and said, Aoki Lee Simmons, love you always. I'm always waiting for any call, anytime. So, of course, the conversation is coming up about, her father and her mother and things like that. And I'm going to also show some of the comments that people were making as it pertains to Kimora and dragging her and blaming her for this situation as well. So let me pull that up on the screen and show you some of the things that people were saying. So if in this post from the Jasmine brand, it says Kimora Lee Simmons dragged online after 21-year-old daughter Aoki Lee Simmons spotted kissing 65-year-old businessman. And so somebody said, this is funny because last week y'all was like, Kimora needs to go get the Combs twins from Diddy. They wouldn't be safe with her tail either. Another person commented and said, I'm going to give Kimora Lee her lashings, not for dating Russell, but because she's been around very shady men and enabled them. I wouldn't be surprised if she prepared Aoki for this relationship. She wanted money so bad that she went and married a scammer who was already married. All right. Another person says, Russ must have stopped payments, dog. Shaking my head. Kimora, man, this is nasty. Another person says, F that. Kimora been around the block long enough to know that old pervy men mean young girls no good intent. She has a duty to protect those girls. Now, she is their mother, but once you are 21 years old on your own, your mother can advise on what she thinks that you can do or tell you what she feels is best. But these kids got to bump their head on their own. Like, her mom can't make her stop dating him. Another person says, Aoki, no, you creep, get off of her. Kimora, do something. Another person says, Kimora been adding little subliminals about everyone else's situation. Whole time her household has been effed up for years. Them stones and glass houses, boy, I tell you. Another person says, y'all, Kimora absolutely knows her daughter is dating that man. Now, do I think she cares? And then it says,
no, 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 no.
All right. So then Kimora entered the chat and she basically responded with a subliminal post of her trying to, show her reaction to the situation as well. And this is what she posted. So let me stop the screen and share that slide right here. So this is what she posted of these two pandas. And I guess this is a mom panda and a baby panda. So let's play it. Okay, so I take that as her trying to say, like, she's trying to steer her daughter away from it, but she grown. That's kind of what I got from it. Like, I didn't try what I could do, but she grown. She gonna do what she want to do, and she jetted, and that is what it is, or whatever. And so that was her response to the situation as well. So I'll get David back on here. And somebody asked, was he on 60 Days In? If you want to answer that, you can. They want to know if you was on 60 Days In the chat.
Yeah, that's me. You can follow me on Instagram at that_Jamaican_. Yes, yes, yes. So, uh, reading the comments, a lot of the comments actually made sense too, though, in a lot of ways. Even if you're on the outside looking in, sometimes you can still hit a nail on the head without really knowing the totality of the circumstances. I think even with her posting that video, let's just say for argument's sake, she's right though. Like as a mother, I've extended everything that I could to try to stop or me and maybe even be the best mother that I could. But even in doing that, a mother can still drop the ball. It's just a matter of where and when, at which point do you drop the ball in your son or daughter's life.
Mm-hmm.
As I look at her daughter and mind you, we are all on the outside looking in. So I can't really I can give my synopsis, but it don't mean I'm correct. But I do feel like I said earlier at the beginning of my statement, parenting had a huge, huge part of this. And most daughters, they want their father. You know what I'm saying? And for parents to raise kids, they have to be on the same accord. Like it can't be, well, I want to raise my kid this way, uh, and he or she want to raise the kid that way. Y'all have a median. I think for them, and this is just my take on it. I think at some point in time, it was just like, oh, let's just send her to school. Let me give her a trade. Let me teach her a art. Let's do something to like look as if we're doing the most. But most parents need to realize it's not those classes. It's good to give them classes and tools for the toolbox for life, right? Like learning another language, learning how to play an instrument, learning how to swim. Things of these nature are definitely things you can use as you journey through life. But I think the biggest thing that parents need to realize is that you are the biggest and best teacher that they have. Those classes are temporary, those teachers are temporary. You are the only and supposed to be the most experienced teacher that your kids have. I'm not saying Kimora didn't drop the ball, I'm not saying she did. But I know people of wealth, they do tend to get so busy that they don't put that effort into their children. And it shows as adults. And not to like change the subject, but if you look at Will Smith and his children, I was under the impression that the kids was gonna come out looking, doing things on a different scale and being different in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying they're not successful, but they did go their own route. I don't know. I think people need to realize that money isn't the only asset that you need in raising a family. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Kimora. I don't know her story. Let's say she did her best job and this was just the result. Hey, it is what it is. But I think right now we should focus on what could we do now to kind of help her though. Like, okay, in that incident, you know what I also saw the mother panda do? She gave up. She didn't go after her no more. Here, or Cub no more. Is Kimora also saying the same thing? Like, I'm done. Like, I'm cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, oh,
Right. So switching gears, next topic on that. If there is anybody, somebody said, I like this guy. Well, y'all can follow him at that Jamaican Sigma on Instagram. That underscore Jamaican underscore Sigma. If there's anybody who wants to come up and talk about this really quickly, before we pivot into the next conversation, hit the link. If not, we're gonna move to the next topic. And we're gonna do that like that. And when he gets done talking, he needs to add his Instagram to his name. Okay, is there anybody else who wants to click the link really quick before we move on? Because we gonna stream right ahead. We gonna move right ahead. If not, somebody said Kimora's son is a teenager, the rest is grown. Somebody said this guy, wait, what? You said this guy was in 60 Days In. He was hysterical. What that mean? Hysterical like panicking, or hysterical like funny? What y'all trying to say? Somebody said I appreciate his insight. Um Ivy is responding to somebody, but I didn't see who Ivy was responding to. All right, we got to move ahead. Y'all ain't clicked the link, so we got to get going to the next topic. Y'all know y'all got to click, click. Click, click, click. All right, if y'all come on while we move to the next topic, somebody said look up his ex-wife. I seen her. I seen a picture of her. The ex-wife that he was dating, that was went after the twin sister husband or whatever. I don't know her though. Why she's a white woman. Why you want me to why you want me to look up the picture? I mean, I've seen it already. Is there something that I should be specifically looking for though? Is a better question.
yeah, I would want to know like what's the correlation between the two? Is there a connected dots theory or what's going on? Why does the ex-wife matter?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Oh yeah, and can you edit your name and put on the headline your Instagram? Andrea, hello.
Hey, Nick at night. Hey,
Hey,
boo.
how you doing?
Good, good, good. Hello.
Hey.
He's right on point. He's saying exactly how I've been feeling about this baby. She has some underlying issues mentally. I do believe, and I saw that way back. She is dealing with some daddy abandon issues as well. But we also have to keep in mind too that her mother her mother was dating Russell at the same age I believe she is now. So that's, I guess I don't want to say in the genes, but the apple don't fall too far from the tree. But I
Yeah,
think she's
history
based
repeating itself is what I would
it's
call it.
repeating itself, yeah.
Yeah.
But I do believe that she's dealing with some abandonment issues when it comes to um, dating this older man.
Mhm.
She's seeking, her dad, I believe. But at the same time, she has some mental issues going on.
What do you think as it pertains to what people are saying about Kimora?
I think as a mom, um, my daughter, at a young teenage age, they do or try to, fit in a lot. My daughter was the only child, so she fended for friends, good, bad, and indifference. So a lot of things that she did was out of my morals and what I was setting for her, but she wanted to fit in with the other friends, so she would do things, say things, of course I had to find them out. They wasn't, all in the opening, but I knew what I did at home. I kept her in church, I, kept her, in school. She didn't ditch, stay out of school. I did the best that I could. When me and her dad separated and went through our divorce, it kind of it triggers something. Yeah, it was an abusive relationship, and she was glad that we wasn't in the same household. But when he moved away back to our state, where we were
I'm gonna
from.
pause you real quick. Hold on. David, I was talking about the headline. So there's two. There's the name part, and then there's the headline. So the headline is the white part under mine. Yeah. So add it to the headline. Go ahead, Andrea. Finish.
Yeah, so like I said, I did everything that I could, but um everybody is individuals and they have their own mind. My daughter, she strayed away from my standards and my upbringing, just like she, wanted to date the thuggy boys. She was the pretty girl with the long hair, color eyes, but she wanted the bad boys because that was the thing, back in the early 2000s, so she wanted the Lil Wayne look, and I'm like, no, get you someone that, that's got something going for themselves, but she didn't want them kind of boys.
Yeah.
So I just think it's a little more deeper. We're not looking deeper into it. The guy on your panel is spot on, but we still have to look, no matter where you from, what ethnic, what background, what's your financial status. Everybody is an individual. You could do the best you can as a parent, but that person is going to make their own decisions at the end of the day. So you can't always look at the parents saying, oh, they were bad parents, they should have did more. No, that person decided to go their route, you know but I mean, and that's just my opinion because I'm speaking from experience. I know I was a good mom. I kept my daughter active in ballet, tap, dancing. And, she loved concerts. I sent her to every concert, but she still had those moments where she veered off to the left, you know. But yeah, I just, that's just my opinion. It's sad. It's sad. Just have to, pray for her and pray for more Kimora as well, because we don't know um, all of the dots, but we saw what played out with Russell, with his daughter, so we know that he was missing somewhere, and that's what she's spending for. That's
All
just
right. Thank you, Andrea.
thank.
I'm gonna bring you down, but if
And
you
y'all can follow me too. I have a channel too, Meek.
what you
And
say?
I have a channel as well, Andrea's Perspective.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Shout
Yeah.
your channel out.
Yes, Andrea Perspective. Check me out. I'm just getting started, but yes. But thank you for having me up, Neat. And I'm in the
Okay,
chat
thank you for
listening.
coming.
Okay, bye
We'll
bye.
go to the next topic. If you want to chime in on that one, you could come back up. All right. So moving on. Speaking of parents, fathers, dynamic, we're gonna move on to the next topic. So the next topic that we're gonna talk about is Diddy and his son Christian Combs. Now, recently it made headlines that Christian Combs was hit with a SA allegation as well as his father. So we're going to talk about that right now and get you guys' opinion on it. So let me pull that up right now for you guys, and we're going to read what it says. So on this post by the Neighborhood Talk, it says Christian Combs is accused of essaying and drugging a woman in a crazy lawsuit. So it says, neighbors, things are getting even crazier. Son of Sean Diddy Combs, Christian Combs, is being accused of essaying and drugging women. Sound familiar? Question mark. According to Vibe, the identity of Combs' alleged victim has yet to be revealed. The details surrounding the reported lawsuit are sparse. In addition, the rap star has yet to address the allegations, but he took to Instagram. Although we may not know who the specific individuals are, the rapper who performed under the stage name King Combs has been romantically linked to multiple women during his time in the spotlight. Combs dated his ex-girlfriend Bria Hicks for several years and is currently dating model Raven Tracy, who recently got Christian's name tattooed on her body. Combs has been dragged into a web of alarming allegations involving his father, Diddy, who have been the target of multiple lawsuits in recent months, alleging drug misuse, ex trafficking, violence, and other offenses. The allegations brought against Combs have been characterized as serious. So that is one of the allegations that is added on to the Diddy train. And then there was an update to it, and it said that there was I guess audio that caught the incident. So let me pull that up for you guys right now. So it says, oops, Christian Combs' alleged essay assault was reportedly captured on audio recording during a studio session. The woman is heard saying, "Don't touch my leg like that and take your hand off of my tail." So in the description, it says, neighbors, more info is coming out about the essay lawsuit against Diddy's son, Christian Combs, and it looks like Diddy has been named as a defendant in it as well. According to court documents, a woman named Grace whatever claims she was essayed by Christian on a yacht in 2022 and that Diddy aided his behavior. The woman says she has audio recording of Christian seemingly assaulting her because there was a studio on the yacht where Christian was recording at the time with none other than Little Rod. If you can recall, Little Rod is the reason Diddy is being investigated for alleged trafficking, and it appears the producer was collecting evidence the entire time he was employed by Diddy. But let's stay focused. Grace says that she was working as staff for the charter service, and Christian took a liking towards her. She included transcripts of audio clips recorded by Rod that she states are evidence of her denying his advances as Christian gropes her. "Excuse me, you don't touch my leg like that. I'll move my leg where I want to." Grace is heard saying in the recording, "If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that. Listen, you and everybody in the crew." And then it says, Christian Combs allegedly replies, "I can't. I have to go down." The woman says, "I have to go down." And then Grace says she informed him that her boss would have to permit her to remain in the studio, something she knew they wouldn't do. And Christian asked who he needed to speak to. "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Christian said, according to the suit, "Well, you can take your hand off my behind." For the first thing, Grace responded. Grace says Christian pressured her to take shots, which she believes may have been spiked. She says the alleged assault has a deep impact on her mental health as well as her professional and personal life. Since her boss didn't believe the alleged assault happened, she is speaking unspecified damages. So there was a lot of opinions as it pertains to that. So I want to know what you think about it.
Uh, rich people problems to an extent. And the sad part about it is, being in law enforcement for 12 years, this is not new to me, but it's only highlighted because of who it is. This happens on an everyday basis. Now, I'm not saying that this actually happened. I'm saying that this is highlighted because of the specificity of the people that's involved. And isn't it just like great timing at the same time? So
Yeah.
it's like, I want people to understand, if you don't believe that there are people in positions that can control the narrative, you just got to look and read between the lines and you'll understand. I can't say too much on that. But getting on the subject at hand, uh, I hate to say this, but I've been around a lot of wealthy, rich people, and they are extremely entitled. I'm talking about extremely entitled. So hearing the word no to something, whether it's a woman saying no, whether it's an opportunity, whether it's food, whatever it may be, people who have money and are wealthy do not like hearing the word no, or you can't, or stop, because psychologically, right, once you become a certain level of success, there is a certain level of boredom, right? Because you can do anything, have anything, right, to an extent. So now what do? You start testing the boundaries. You start pressing the issues. You start seeing what you can and can't get away with. And then you start looking for that thrill again. So imagine a lot of people who do not have money, their process is having and getting money, right? People who have money, their process is what's my next adventure? What's my next thrill? What's my next high? You get what I'm saying? Once you done traveled the world and you've owned all the most expensive cars and you got real estate and land and property and whatever the case may be, right? At some point, if you're not here mentally, like if you're not strong mentally, if you do not have
Oh, he went out. I don't know what happened. But I'll oh, go ahead. I can't hear you. Just go out and come back in. All right.
can you
So
hear me now?
okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. My bad. So I just want to give you that perspective though and understand that it's a bigger plot behind everything. So do I think it's true? I don't know. I can't say yes or no. Is it far fetched though? No, it's not far fetched. Like it could possibly be true. You get what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yeah. My opinion on it, I mean, I really don't know. I mean, it could have happened, could have not. I really don't know. I don't have much opinion on it, but let's just read some of the comments and see what social media is saying about it. I think that, like you said, it could be either way, and it could be, he could have been entitled, could have been touching her, all of these things are the things. Her drink could have been spiked, but my whole thing is, if you're working, why are you drinking? That's kind of crazy. Not to victim blame. They all say victim blame, victim blah, blah, blah. But that was kind of crazy. But anyways, I think that no should mean no. I feel like we are in the age of accountability, and people are holding people accountable for the wrongs that they do. And people need permission to take it the next step. Like, if you want to physically touch somebody and you guys ain't on that level, you have to get permission that it's okay. You can't just think because you Christian Combs that, you pop in or whatever, and you could just touch every girl's behind. Now, again, do I know if it happened or not? I don't know. This is just an allegation at this point, but, people just need to be mindful of what they do, how it may affect somebody. And if you are somebody of wealthy means, Joe Schmo at the club, I done been to several clubs. You walk by, God touch your butt, and Joe Schmo, he just gonna get cussed out. He gonna get cussed out. Get your hands off me. Don't touch me. You know what I'm saying? It's not, somebody touching your behind at the club. It's not really gonna rise to the level of somebody saying, you essayed me, I'm filing a lawsuit. Like, they're not going to do that. So you have to be mindful as you climb the ladder that you are going to be held accountable at a much higher degree, and things are going to be highlighted at a much higher degree because they have something to get out of the situation. So he needs to figure it out. His daddy needs to figure it out. But I'll read a couple comments and we will see what the people have to say about it. Okay. And the comments might not be that big. But let's just read some of the stuff that people say. So this woman right here said, so she still stood there with intentions of recording him and provoking him. Also, the way he would touch her legs or whatever, like, girl, please leave this girl alone. Knew what you was looking for from jump. Another woman says, this is a joke. So she's recording with the intentions of making it sound incriminating while she stands there unforced and let's do someone touch her. It's called setup. Another person says, the main thing people always scream is, where's the proof? Then there is proof and people scream, she set him up. Y'all are wild. Another person says, it's funny how everyone is treating Little Rod in all of this. We practically beg men to hold their peers accountable. Now that we finally have a man who has the gall to do it, y'all are treating him like he's less of a man and couldn't be further from the truth. Another person says, so she went and baited him, question mark. Another person says, stunting like my daddy, to a whole new level. Another person says, the amount of women coming to the defense is sickening. It shows none of you have been assaulted, or you were warped into thinking you were not, and you did not say no. Another person says, "Welp, lock him up." I definitely think, given that his dad got away with assaulting and abusing people for so many years, he thought he would too. Another person says, "So she just happened to record it." Another person says, "Child, Lil Rod was not playing with Diddy. The fact that this stuff is recent is crazy." Another person says, this is becoming annoying. Another person says, well, he's definitely following in his father's footsteps, and so on and so on. Another person, this is the last one I'm going to read. They say, I feel like Diddy groomed all his kids to think this behavior is normal. When you have money and power, the girls are probably also conditioned to look past it and be showered with money and gifts. Textbook narcissist behavior. That's why they all acting normal as if none of this is happening. Daddy's money is going to make it all go away. So that is the chatter surrounding it on social media. And if there's any of you guys who want to chime in on that specific part, let me drop the link in the chat. In the meantime, is there anything else that you wanted to add to it?
So yeah, they definitely hit on a couple key points, like uh people. I'm not saying women, but men do it too. People do bait certain situations so that they can have a reason to cry wolf. Um, I think this is where we as human beings have to really, really key in on using something that God gave us all, but we need to kind of fine tune it, which is discernment. Uh, Everything that glitter isn't gold, you know, and you really got to be mindful of your actions and the decisions that you make, because they don't just affect you or the people around you. It can affect people that you don't even know. I think that there could be a possibility of her baiting, because everybody's saying, "Oh, she just happened to be recording." It's it's all subjective, right? Because we wasn't there. We don't know the mentalities that were at work at the time or previous to the situation. I've had cases, sex crimes that were beyond heinous and intentional, and I've had sex crimes where people have came and flat out lied. But me being in the position I am, I have to do my due diligence. I have a duty. So even if I know they lying, I still have to investigate it. I think this right here just takes a really, really thorough investigation into the facts, not feelings, for you to really know the truth. The sad part about it is, unfortunately, we are at the will of the media. The media is going to spew out there what they want us to see, and they're going to try and dictate the narrative and our feelings towards certain situations. It's just it's definitely it's a difficult process. It's a difficult situation to kind of like perceive or kind of departmentalize, because like I said, this go on every day, all across the world. This go on. But this is an opportunity for us to kind of be able to, be a detective. Use common sense, use knowledge and wisdom, and kind of put some little. It's not to sound kind of rude, but take this as an opportunity to kind of fine tune your skills and paying attention to details and what you hear and what you see, and try to paint your own picture.
Right, right, right. All right, all right, all right. So we're gonna move on to the last topic. And this one was switching gears off of that. So there was a comedian on Wild 'N Out, and his name is Rip Michaels or whatever. And he basically came forward saying that after he went to the ICU, his wife left him. Now, it left an interesting debate in the comments, because people started to basically say that he was the blame, and that women don't just leave a man while they're in the ICU. And people started to have all of these debates thinking that he must have did something and he's not telling the full story. On the other hand, there was men in the comments who felt like how can we project a narrative on the situation without, that being interjected in the story, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to pull up the clip of him basically on the Angela Yee podcast. I'm going to play the audio for y'all. Um, and then I'm going to share with you guys when he was in the ICU and how that what that looked like. So hold on, let me put the audio on and we going to go from there. So, I'm going to put it up quickly so that y'all can see what he looked like, but then I'm going to take it down because they be copywriting when you share both the audio and the video.
No, but when I was in the hospital, it made me get really closer to my daughter because my wife left me while I was in the hospital too. So
That's crazy.
Yes.
I don't. How does that even happen?
Oops, sorry, y'all. All right. So that's what he said on the Angela Yee show. And he said that when he was in the ICU that she left him. And this is a video of him from when he was actually in the ICU. So let me show that real quick.
I just wanted to let you know that I will not be making it to do a Apollo show. I'm in the hospital and I'm going to postpone it for a later date. Thank you for everybody that bought a ticket. But I promise you, as soon as I get better and I get out of here, we're gonna have a great show. All right. Thank y'all for all the support. Hey, I just wanted to tell you.
Okay. And in the caption, it says, "My deepest apologies to everyone who bought tickets to the live taping at the Apollo. My heart, since the attack is only functioning at 17%, and I am currently in CCU with good people in heart failure team. I thank everyone. I thank each and every person for all the prayers and get well wishes, and your understanding, and my family does too." And so that was that. So I'm going to read some of the comments that people were making, and then I'll have David chime in. So it says, not saying don't leave, but the human side in me would have made sure he was still straight. When you are a child of God, you just move a certain way. Somebody said, as a man, I'll tell you firsthand, she got a hold to that phone or some proof of infidelity and left his tail. I was cheating on my woman back in 21, around the time I got shot 6 times and was in a coma. She had been through my phone and saw everything. And when I woke up, she left me. And it wasn't nobody's fault but mine. This dude is a cornball for making her out to be the bad one. Another person said, saying he did something to make her walk out while he was fighting for his life is crazy. It speaks to her character. Another person says, as a former ICU nurse, I'm telling y'all now, she went through that phone and cleared it. Another person says, we would like to hear her side. Just from the way he's talking, I know he ain't ish. Another person says, that's messed up. She went through that phone, and when he was in critical condition, she could have waited. Another person says, you don't get left in an ICU for being a good partner. So let's start speaking truths instead of recruiting sympathy. Another person says, these comments are wild, shaking my head. This man is talking about being in the hospital, about to pass away, and it's women in the comments talking about him lying and being left. Okay, and so another person says, the double standards in these comments are insane. If it was the woman and the men left, y'all wouldn't even care to hear his side of the story. So I want to know what you think.
Yeah. Man, I think on such a grandiose scale, right? So I'm gonna sound kind of rude by saying this, but when I was listening on this, like he was talking, I feel like it was slightly exaggerated. I feel that way. I don't want nobody to think I'm heartless, but I feel like the way he was talking, his composure, how he was, I feel like it was that there was an exaggeration. But the key to that is most people will do certain things in situations that you can't question, right? So, like for instance, a man cheats on his wife, and you ask him where was he at, and he'd be like, "Oh, I was with my mom. Me and my mom. We've been going through some things. Da 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 da." A woman automatically might not. Oh, he was with his mom. Oh, I was tripping. That could be a lie, though. You get what I'm saying? But some
Mhm.
people kind of put themselves in positions to use certain tools and
Oh wait, let me pause.
calculate
They're saying that they didn't hear it. Did you hear it? They said they didn't hear the first part.
the first part of what me.
No, when he was talking, when he was explaining it, they're saying they didn't hear the first part.
No, I heard him. I heard him talk. It was just the exaggerate. I felt it was that exaggeration. Oh, they might be talking about the first video where you played him at the interview,
Yeah,
and
did
he
you
was
hear
like,
that?
"Yeah, I heard it," but it was like it was just a small section though. Why you
Hold on.
want to replay it? You want to play it again?
Yeah, let me play it again first.
Okay.
Hold on.
Made me
Can you
get really closer to my daughter because my wife left me when I was in the hospital too. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
can y'all hear that? Can you hear that?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh, okay. So I don't know. I played it the same way.
It
Yeah, I
made
mean, he
me get really closer to my daughter because my wife left me when I was in the hospital too. So
That's
yeah,
crazy.
yes.
I don't. How does that even happen?
I guess when it's she's a go getter, she don't like to procrastinate,
Oh
so
my
she was
God,
she was out.
that's terrible. How long were you guys married?
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, that was pretty recent.
Yeah.
That's cold blooded.
I guess when it said I was in ICU, she was like, "I'll see you later." So she was out of there.
I don't like that.
But it's okay.
Oh, somebody said they talking about Christian. There was no audio that I didn't play no audio for Christian. They just had the transcripts of the audio. There was no audio for Christian. There was just mentioned that they included it when she did the lawsuit, but we didn't hear no audio. There's just excerpts. So anyways, back to that. What were you saying, David? Sorry to cut you off.
no, you cool, you cool. So like from my experiences with dating and women and things of that nature, he said they was married for 2 years. She left him while in the ICU. There's always some more to the story on that level, unless you like somebody like myself who is gonna give you like everything. I'm gonna put my shit out there. I'm gonna put yours. I'm gonna put it out there. And you know me to be that way. I don't hold no punches.
Mm-hmm.
But to say it in such a nonchalant way, oh yeah, my wife let me alone. He didn't even sound like he was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
me saying that, I'd have been like, yeah, she, yeah, I was sick over it. You know what I mean? Whoop de whoop. It was more of a, yeah, man, she bounced on me. I mean, I was in ICU. He had to make it sound versus just what's the difference between saying she bounced on you without putting the ICU part in there? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, no, blase skip. My wife ended up leaving me. Whoa, 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 whoa. He had to throw that in there though, and that's the fit of certain. Of course, that's the paint a picture and fit a certain narrative. So, pull at people's like, I guess, heartstrings in a sense for those who got them. No, but I agree with one of the comments. They said we need to hear like her side of the story. See what she was going through in those 2 years. See how she felt. And did she? And maybe just maybe, right? Maybe him being in the hospital was a chance of an opportunity for her to escape without him having to badger her or talk to her or stop her in the doorway. Maybe she looked at it as an escape route. You get what I'm saying? Like versus I know he ill, but I gotta put myself first in this particular situation. We don't know her story. You get what I'm saying? Like so I
Yeah.
can't really I don't want to hound her and be like, oh, you should have waited. Because what if waiting would have been more detrimental to her? And maybe detrimental to their relationship in general. I don't know the dynamics of their relationship in the last 2 years of them being married. So but I can honestly say him saying it, he didn't say it in a way where there were emotion involved. And I think the people commenting had more emotion about the situation than he did. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's my take on it, man. I don't know. These topics is difficult to kind of parlay with because you really don't know what you're doing, and you really don't know what went on. You don't know the totality of the circumstances, and in a sense, that's kind of how it is for us. And the good ones, some of us law enforcement people, it's hard to you really try to paint that picture and put things together, but it's hard when you wasn't there, you don't know all the facts, you don't have all the people accessible to you, or people don't want to talk. So, in a sense, I want people to look at this and be like, "Hey, welcome to my world, where you just got to literally piece it together with the smallest amount of information that you can find and pray that it's true, or at least look into it, even if it's not true, to see if it can lead you to some truth." You know what I'm saying? So,
Somebody said, trust. When she first left him, he was pissed. He just had time to process before this interview happened. Do you believe that?
but I'm saying pissed is a different level of emotion. Like, I know what it's like to fall in love and love a woman, and I know what it's like to put my all into something. So when I had to make a decision for myself, I wasn't just pissed. I wasn't pissed. I was disappointed. I was sad. I was stricken. That's why we saying yes, he's pissed, but pissed at what though? Is it the fact of her leaving, or is there more dynamics to that aspect? Is it because she got some money? Is it because the way she left? You
Yeah,
know, we need more information. We can't just say he was pissed and feel like he was mad about the relationship. There has to be more to it.
right. Well, I'm gonna say this. Y'all, people say I'm traumatized, and I think every man is gay and all of these things like that. But when I seen the mannerisms that came across my desk, he just didn't give me straight. And I just feel like, I don't know. But with that being said, thank you so much for coming on. We will end the show there. Tell the people again where they can follow you.
Oh, check me out on Instagram, that underscore Jamaican underscore Sigma. I also have a Facebook. It is Dawood, DAWUUD. Last name is Duncan, DUNCAN. You can follow me on both platforms. And yeah, come check me out, man.
All right, all right. And the girls is fawning in the chat. Ori said, "Hold, let me see what Ori said." She said, "His smile is distracting me real bad." Then somebody said, "Ari, calm down." And then
What's up,
Ari
man?
said, "Tell him to stop smelling." Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm
With
sorry.
that
I'm
being
sorry.
said, we're gonna catch y'all on another one. Thank you again for coming on. And I'll catch y'all later. And y'all let me know if y'all want David to come back, back in the day. Back in the day.
Hey, we already collabing. They don't know about it yet.
Hey, David used to come on the scene. Okay, we did a couple collab videos. Okay, so let me know if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
want to see him more.
Yeah, we locked in.
Somebody said, "Who is he?" I mean,
Follow me on Instagram. Check me out. Or you can Google me. Whichever one, whatever tickles your fancy.
okay, okay, okay. So he said, "Yes, handsome." All right, all right, all right. All right, I'll talk to y'all later. See y'all later. Thank y'all for tuning in. And y'all let me know what story that y'all want me to cover next.